All right, this is take two because the previous recording was a little messed up on my end, of course. So this is the second time of me recording, so it's going to be even better. If this is the third time you're listening to this, it's going to be even better than the time you're listening to me talk about this now. All right, don't think about that too hard, everyone. So we're going to talk about how to do a 360-degree video in Adobe Premiere. So some of you might be thinking, oh, is it going to be an insane project to get done? And the answer is no. So we're going to actually show you it's pretty quick and easy. You want to start a new project, and it doesn't matter, complete default. Just make sure it's in the folder you want it. And once you open it up, you should see this screen. I am skipping that whole process because I think it is so basic that it's not even needed in here. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. You just create a new project, worst case scenario. So when you show up, you're going to see this. And what we're going to do is we're going to drag and drop some video files into here. And so if you go up to here, I have in my folder, I have this MP4 that I dragged and dropped into here. So all you do is drag and drop. You see how it's importing, boom, it's there. So let me actually delete these so I can show you. Yeah. Destroy them. There we go. Yeah, went all Anakin on them. So we're going to drag and drop 360 in there, and then we have this asset that I made called white square. It took me hours. I just opened MS Paint and saved the square that it had in it. So yeah, I committed a cardinal sin of art. I used MS Paint, unironically. So all we want to do is we want to drag and drop our 360 video in here, and you can see it made this file here. That is a proxy file. If you can work with proxy files, do. If I remember right, yeah. So you can go in here, right click, and hit create proxy for any object you want. If you're not automatically doing it, I am, and I think it's default that you automatically create proxy files. So it shouldn't be a problem to all of you. So here we have our file that we've added in. It is 360 degrees. You can't tell right now, but Adobe has recognized that it is a 360-degree video for a few reasons that we will get into. Now, it is very important that you put in your video first, and that is because if we right-click this and go into Properties, you can see that our aspect ratio is 3840 by 2160, and that is a lot bigger than regular default ranges. Likewise, if we put this one in first, we would probably get like 20 pixels by 20 pixels, which is definitely not what we want. So we want to put in basically our biggest aspect ratio first so that we get all of that in. Now, if you look up here, you can see it's just a distorted mess. The horizon's kind of wrapped around awkwardly and everything's just weird. So there's this button here called Toggle VR Video Display, and I guarantee you 90% of you just had a panic trying to find this button up here. Also note that these three windows are in almost all of these tabs. I don't know if there's one that's not. I'm in the editing tab if you can't see it. Now that I've let you panicked enough about where this Toggle VR video display is, you click this plus button and it's right here. So I'll show you. Let me drag out this. So let's say, oh no, reset layout. Okay. Oop, I messed up. Reset layout. Okay, there we go. So you see how oh no, I don't have it. I hit the plus button. And you see I scroll through, oh, toggle VR display. Click, drag, and drop. Ba-ba. Okay, ta, we have it. If you cannot find it, double check and make sure you have the latest Adobe product. So we click this button, doop, and it puts us into this display. So we can click anywhere in this window and drag around, and we can actually see it in a 1920 by 1080 style. Now, by default, I have my video a little bit differently than what you probably are seeing. You're probably seeing a square. So I'm going to click this settings button, VR video, settings. And what this is our monitor view system. So I want to mirror 16 by 9 as close to I can as possible. So 192 by 1080. Now we've already hit our max on that, so it's no big deal. Hit OK, and it will automatically change this to whatever we set in here. So I can go in here and say 180 on the other one. 180. 182. That's 180. And you can see we've now turned into a box. So we can put any different setting we want in here, and it will kick it out. Note that you have to pick 3 numbers. We can't go over, and apparently you can't go over 180 either. So keep that in mind. Note that that view does not change your view in your 360-degree video. 360-degree video will try to be 16 by 9 to basically a smaller version of the aspect ratio that your file format is already in. This is just for viewing pleasure. And that is pretty much it. In 360 videos, the 16 by 9 widescreen is not as common. You see at the bottom here, we have this little dial that we can move side to side, and we can click and drag these features to move them around. If you wanted to put any opacity filters here, so you see we have these tabs, you go to click, see nothing happens. Click off here, nothing happens. It just created the mask and killed it immediately. So you need to be in this mode to do any edits to this object by drawing in it. So you can do filters and stuff like that. So if I go into here, you can click and drag this opacity, and we can make it dark, and we can make it lighter, and I can click this reset button. Yep. So there we go. We have that all set up. And honestly, you can just export this straight out the gate if you just wanted to get it into the MP4 format. If you want to do any editing, so let's say that we have 20 seconds in the beginning where we go over and we hit the record button. Let's zoom in here by clicking this, making our slider a little bit smaller. We can see how that's a little red box. We can click there and we can drag, and now we'll set when the video clip starts. So we can trim it that way. We can also go in and we can cut out sections of this and just completely cut and crop if we wanted to. So you can do all those different things to get your video, and you can just export it out if that is what you fancy. So let's talk about a few other things you can add. The difference between a 360 and a regular video is pretty much 360 is in a higher aspect ratio format, and the video sometimes is not as good overall, so keep that in mind. And also you have these VR features. Besides that, everything else acts exactly the same. So I'm going to just make this super easy and not go too far. All right, so we are on to the editing phase. What can you do with editing? What can you do with a Klondike bar? I don't know. So here we click on the object we want to edit. And to edit in VR is pretty much exactly the same, except a couple of differences in which I'm going to show you. So over here on the side, we have our editing tab, and this has all of the objects we have on here that we can change. So we can change all these different things, and it'll change what this video looks and sounds like. You see we have an audio section and a video section. If we have these split, which I'm going to do, I right click here, I say unlink, you can see the audio tab went off because these have become 2 separate objects. It is up to you on that one. That was a crash course in video editing. Now let's move on. So effects with VR is a little bit different. So it's pretty much the same. You can put the same effects on any object. Yeah, let's take and drag and drop. Why not? Let's take a distort Magnify. Why not? So you can see we just magnify. I don't know. See, it works exactly the same. So you can pretty much use a lot of these features cross over. But over here on the right, since we're in the effects tab, effects on the top, you see effects on the right. If we go down to video effects, immersive video, you can see we have all these lists of VR. If you want a quick search, we can just go VR at the top here. Now, there's video effects and video transitions. So we have these transitions down below. I'll be 100% honest, if you're leaning on transitions, you're probably not going to get a lot of good videos out of it because built-in transitions are almost always worse than handmade transitions. Chroma Lakes, don't know what that does. Chroma is a nice word in video editing, so that might be actual nice. So let's go ahead and talk about what each of these things do. VR blur is exactly what you think. It is a drag and drop blur effect. Let's see if regular blur works. So let's just camera blur. Why not? Let's see how blur works. So blur has a distortion issue, as you can see, which means blur does not work with us. So they've solved this by making a VR blur. So if we drag and drop VR blur, we can go in here and increase this amount. And as you see, we do not have that ungodly line. Grand. So that being said, figure out what you want to do VR blur with. We have Chromatic Aberrations, and this one is I'm going to do a quick crash course on. So Chromatic Aberrations is basically we're going to mess with our RGB values. So you see over here, everything's all funky, wicked, and all that kind of stuff. All a bunch of different words, psychedelic. Let's just throw out all of the words. All right, so light theory is a little bit interesting. Light is split up into 3 channels: red, green, and blue. I know a lot of you are sitting there going, oh my gosh, my kindergarten teacher lied to me. And the answer is yes. Red, blue, and yellow is not the end all be all in primary colors. We have red, green, and blue, and I think the other one people use is yellow, magenta, and cyan. You'll see that in printers. But we have red, green, and blue. If anything is compared to light, light splits up into those 3 channels in which our video is coming out of. If we are coloring and mixing and finger painting, then red, yellow, and blue is our go-to. So we are splitting those channels in this video with this filter. Yeah, use it, whatever. Color gradients. This one's good for fancy video effects. You can see we have these fancy colors. If we drag this, we can increase how many colors we have. Let me kick back out into here, fit. You see how these colors are all weird? So we can change the gradient power. I'm just sitting here and going over these little numbers, and there's the double arrows. I'm clicking, drag left to decrease, drag right to increase. And I'm just messing with this until I get something I like. I kind of like this. Points, you can see we can go in and change what these colors are and where they are positioned. I don't really care too much to go into that. And then we drop down this opacity a little bit. And the opacity is pretty nice because dropping it down makes it more transparent. Having it up makes it more opaque, hence the word opacity. So this one's good for just general color grading. It can be a little awkward. Yeah, this is a little awkward. I don't think I would suggest it too much, but to each their own. Let's turn it off. With this FX toggle, I just click the FX and it toggles it off. So we have denoise. Denoise can actually be pretty nice for you. So we're going to drag and drop into editing instead. And I'm just going to go and I'm going to zoom in. As you can see, we have zoomed in. See how weird and grainy some things are? We can just increase this number a little bit and you see how it like does a slight blur. we can kind of mess with that a little bit and see where we like it. Honestly, I couldn't find a way to make that look good. It was either it was blurry or it was fuzzy, and I rather it fuzzy, but whatever. So let's go over digital glitch and fractal noise. Those are just visual mumbo jumbo. There's not really much to it. If you wanted a cool effect, digital glitch makes it look like everything's on the fritz. As you can see, everything's glitched out. Whoop-de-doo. Digital glitches like that. Fractal noise is everything's all wicked, and we use opacity to filter out. Again, whoop-de-doo. This is all creative effects. If you really want to go fancy, best word of advice, less equals more. So VR Glow is actually pretty nice. It uses a Luma threshold and picks out our bright objects and makes them brighter. So you can see when I up this, it makes the sky brighter, and that's because it's picked the brighter objects and it is making them brighter. So if I drop this all the way to 0, the Luma threshold, everything starts glowing. If I bring it up to 1, nothing glows. So if I make it like 0.9, which it was at, boom, then the sky is the only thing that glows. And so Luma, if any of you have owned a flashlight, you'll say like, oh, this brand new flashlight gets 10,000 lumens. Grand. Those are your brightness, best way to explain it. And you can use tint, color, all that stuff. Get creative with it. Why not? So there is that. Now, we want to show two things. Plane to sphere and projection. We also have rotate sphere, which is an option. Sharpen is similar to blur. It's creative. So we are going to drag in our fancy smancy white square. Boonk. So we have dragged and dropped in the white square. So we have the white square to do all of our fun stuff with. Let's go over to graphics up top here. And we can pick all these fancy different things. And because I rather have more control over it, I'm just going to go in and drag and drop the basic title. The basic title has absolutely nothing. It is a basic title. We're going to go back to the effects tab. If I'm going too fast, slow me down. I'll also speak really slow right now. I'll speak really slow just to mess up your video timing if you've already sped me up or slow me down. So let's continue. So you see we have this square in here, and as I move, it will stay, but it looks kind of weird. Drag and drop this VR plane to sphere. Boonk. You see how it's bigger now, but it is more grounded to the world. So we can mess with this with the scale degrees. As I increase this, it actually moves that object closer. And I can do a feather thing, which makes it a little bit opaque, or it moves down the opacity a little bit. We can also do this rotate source as well and twist it, turn it, bop it, all that kind of stuff. So that's to twist it on its own axis. This rotate projection is rotated on yourself. So it's kind of like, imagine you're holding the camera in front of you. You want to twist that camera around your hand, so you just twist your hand. If you want to twist that around your body, you twist around your body. That's what the difference between those two are. So we have that, and if we wanted to go, we can see that it is distorted in here. We can hold left and right, so we just moved it to the right, why not? You can see we can adjust this wherever we want, and it will adjust to fit where everything is. You can see this left side it doesn't like because that is the fitted side where we split everything together. So try to not edit on those edges, and if you do, be creative. So that is VR plane to sphere. It is used for objects. Now for text, we want to use this thing called VR projection. Bunk. So let's see if we can find, aha. So with this, it allows us, you see we have this VR projection. So we can rotate around here, we can tilt, we can pan, we can the display disparity adjustment. I'll be honest, I have not gotten it to do anything for me. So we have all of those in there. Let's drag and drop this VR plane to sphere and see if we can do anything with that. So I've seen it where the VR plane to sphere just doesn't work with this, and sometimes it does. When in doubt, use a VR plane to sphere, but other side, the VR projection isn't bad either. I tried using the text with it before, and it just didn't work. I don't know why. So when in doubt, VR projection, and you can see the stretch to fill frame. We can click this button, and what it does is, if it's up, it will try to basically come at you into the frame and stick with you if it's an image. So if we have it on the white square, whoop, projection, boom. So if we go over here, you can see how it's actually just filling up the entire screen, and it's because it wanted to. So there's all that. Rotate sphere honestly does the same things again. If you're wanting something different, switch between those three, but I would suggest plane to sphere over all of them if you can make it work. All right, let's go to the even more advanced and the watch out section. So I'm going to go to the part, let me mute this video so it's not messing around. So we did something interesting with this video way back when I first made it. So as you can see around here, we have split this 360-degree video into 2 images. Now, I won't say I did a great job. This was my first time doing it, and there was some issues. I learned some things along the way, and I will teach you what I learned. So one of the biggest problems with 360-degree videos is you have a meshing line where 2 cameras meet and there is an awkward overlap and a weird line in between that has issues. So we actually use this exact line to draw this cut. So let me show you what I did then and what I should have done. So you can see we have a little bit of a feathering on here. I'm not 100% sold on that feathering. I think the feathering should have been on the other side, but let's just move on from there. My biggest tip is, if you notice with this, you see how that is curved? That is actually a straight line in the real world. So let's go back to here. So if you want to do this to fit a straight line, you actually need to find something you know is straight and track it and follow it all the way up. Now you can see I messed up a little bit here and got a little bit too close to that line. But if you follow a straight line and its curve, it translates over to a straight line and you get a straight line around the entire thing, so to speak. Because if I go in to this video, I click the video to see all this, we can do an opacity thing. So we can go in and rotoscope parts of this project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here and I'm going to follow this line all the way up. And I'm going to make this curve around, and then I'm going to go weird here. And you see how we've cut this opacity? We can invert it. So now we've cut a hole in the picture. So that means we can toss things in behind it and do other things, kind of like what I did with this video. I put a completely different other plate on the other side. So if I click here, we can look and you can see the curved part in here, this curved line upwards, actually translates to a straight line, but the flat stuff goes all weird. So we don't want that. So basically, if you want to cut that stuff out, follow the curves. It's a little bit more difficult, but it is completely doable. And it's also not a perfect science. So there you go. That is how you edit a video in Adobe Premiere Pro. So we're going to go ahead and save. Ta-da, saving project. We're going to go to File, Export, Media. Go, 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 go. There we go. And in the format, we want H.264. Don't go for anything else unless you want. I would say the only other thing you can justify is the AVI, but even then, no. Just do H.264. And you see it has all these things auto. Because we put in our video file first, it picked that as the aspect ratio. And since it's a larger aspect ratio, we want that first because it's harder to up the aspect ratio later. So go in here, video, everything's auto filled in down here. It says it's recognized as VR. So we got it, ta-da. And in audio, we don't have to do anything. We hit export or we hit Q and render it out in media encoder. Either way, you get your video. And so technically, I was showing off how to do this with something that already got exported. I had used a camera at the time that recorded in the MP4 format, so I actually didn't have much of an issue with editing. I just pushed it straight in. You might have to put it into another program to convert it. Some of these cameras like using another program to put it all together. And so use that program, get it into an MP4, and then edit it in Adobe Premiere. So I'm going to show you what the output will look like. Note this is an MP4, but it also recognizes it as a 360 VR experience. Let me mute that. Yeah, we can completely see, and you can see we can see all of the movement there. And if we uploaded this straight to YouTube, we will get exactly what we have right here. We will have a 360-degree video that we have edited, and people can view it just like you can here. And if they had a phone, if they tilt the phone on YouTube, you can also see the 360-degree video there. I think I'll upload one of the 360-degree videos so you can actually see what the 360 video looks like. So thank you for watching. This is the 360-degree tutorial on Adobe Premiere. See ya.